Gareth Ward, the independent MP for Kiama and former New South Wales Liberal minister, has been sentenced to 5 years and 9 months in jail for sexually abusing 2 young men. He appeared via audiovisual link from prison as the Parramatta District Court handed down his sentence. Ward's legal team have told the court he intends to appeal the convictions. Let's talk about what's happening right after this. Former New South Wales Liberal minister and independent Kiama MP Gareth Ward has been sentenced to 5 years and 9 months in jail for sexually abusing 2 young men. In July, Ward was found guilty of sexual intercourse without consent and 3 counts of indecent assault. The 44-year-old appeared via audiovisual link from a Hunter Correctional Facility as Judge Gareth handed down the sentence in the Parramatta District Court. Ward's offending was against a 24-year-old political staffer in 2015 and an 18-year-old man in 2013. Both men watched the proceedings via audiovisual link. Judge Shedd praised the courage of the victims in the case. The judge accepted the evidence of the younger victim, noting that Ward provided him with alcohol and encouraged him to drink after he arrived at the house. She said the court found beyond reasonable doubt that the victim froze when the offending occurred. Judge Shedd said it was a response that was common and often misunderstood. It is a misconception that there is a typical way for a victim to respond in such circumstances, she said. Many people think that victims could or should physically resist or scream out. That is still a widely held misconception. Judge Shedd found his description of the experience was coherent and cogent. He was an 18-year-old youth in the company of a much older, respected, and more socially powerful man. The victim was mounted in a confronting manner, she said. His description of freezing is reliable. The judge found that, in relation to the most serious offense against the older victim, the offender deliberately and callously inflicted the sexual assault. She said the offender knew the victim was suffering sexual pain, yet continued with sexual intercourse until he achieved sexual satisfaction. The offender acted in a callous and predatory manner, Judge Shedd said. The offender's moral culpability was high. Judge Shedd also recognized both victims' eloquent impact statements, which illustrated the devastating long-term effects of the offending. She said the younger victim's statement provided a powerful reminder to the court of the devastating effects of the offending. The courage and strength for the victim to come forward, particularly where the complaint relates to a public figure, is immense and should not be underestimated, the judge said. Judge Shedd highlighted the older victim's description of the lasting impact of Ward's actions, saying he felt broken and lonely, struggled to reconcile love and sex. She said he spoke of a sense of betrayal and isolation, noting that influence and power often silence victims. The cascading of events that the victim has endured for many years following the offending is regrettably typical of what the court sees victims enduring in the aftermath of this type of serious offending, she said. Judge Shedd said she hoped that by giving evidence, the victims had begun to reclaim what was taken from them. The defense argued that the loss of Ward's political career, along with his likely inability to pursue a legal career, amounted to additional punishment. Judge Shedd found the loss of his political career did not amount to extracurricular punishment and was a largely inevitable consequence of his offending and convictions. The defense also argued that Ward's fall from grace-inducing media coverage designed to humiliate him, should be a mitigating factor. But Judge Shedd rejected this. Notorious crimes will inevitably attract a level of media scrutiny, she said. The reporting of such matters is important to facilitate the public's awareness of such crimes, such that it is apparent that influential citizens will be dealt with in the same way as any other person accused of such crimes. The level of reporting could not have been a surprise to the offender. Judge Shedd said while she took the concerns into account, they had limited weight. She did acknowledge Ward's concerns about safety and well-being in custody, noting that his status and profile inevitably raised the prospect that he would be targeted in custody with violence or other misconduct. The judge also referenced his medical condition, oculocutaneous albinism, which affected his general degree of comfort and security in custody, making his fears for personal safety more acute. This is a matter of some weight and structure of the sentence, she said. The drawn-out case was further delayed when the scheduled sentencing was postponed to allow more legal argument. The sentence was put off until today after debate about whether Ward should be sentenced under current laws or those in place when the offences occurred in 2013 and 2015. Ward was given a non-parole period of 3 years and 9 months. His legal team has told the court he intends to appeal the convictions. For sexual assault support lines, you can contact 1-800-RESPECT National Helpline on 1-800-737-732, Men's Referral Service on 1300-766-491, Lifeline on 131114 in a 24-hour crisis line, Victims of Crime Helpline on 1-800-819-817, and Full Stop Australia on 1-800-385-578. If you or anyone you know needs help, you can contact Suicide Callback Service on 1300-659-467, Lifeline on 131114, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Crisis Support Line 13 Yarn on 139276, Kids Helpline on 1-800-551-800, Beyond Blue on 1300-224-636, Headspace on 1-800-650-890, reach out at au.reachout.com, Men's Line Australia on 1300-789-978, and QLife on 1-800-184-527.